Out of every game that people often draw inspiration from, one of my favorites has to be Earthbound. It's upbeat, yet with a melancholy and sentimental tone, with its eerie and strange subtleties lurking around every corner. Jimmy and the Pulsating Mass is exactly that. It's yet another unique take on that classic Earthbound tone. I just found out about this game, and it seems that nobody knows it exists yet. I mean, the game's trailer only has like 400 views on YouTube so far. The whole game isn't completely finished and done yet, but it is planned to be a fully fledged RPG title releasing on Steam, spanning over 40 hours of gameplay. The developer, Casey Ozymandias, is currently making the whole thing in RPG Maker all by himself, programming, sprite work, and composing an original soundtrack. He said that by using the simple Earthbound-style graphics, it also helps him create the artwork faster, as they're less detailed and require less work. The game's been in development for several months now, and that development period is planned to last at least a year longer before the full game is out, but there has been a demo for the game released up on the game's RPGmaker.net page, so I guess now is a good time to taste test the game, see if it's any good, and if so, spread the word. So let's give it a go. Jimmy and the Pulsating Mass. Oh, just from the title screen, that tone is already clear. I've said before that Earthbound's tone definitely lies around themes of children dealing with strange and uncomfortable things, terrifying oddities penetrating their bright and childish world. This title screen demonstrates that really well. I mean, we've got that nice sunset, flowers, and bright colors. Jimmy and the... Then we've got this disgusting pulsating flesh grafted onto the title. Itoi did a very similar thing with Mother 3's title screen, using wood and metal to construct the letters. He said, when things that don't match are attached, it's mentally unsettling. This is key in capturing that Earthbound feel, more specifically Mother 3's feel, attaching things that don't belong or are out of the ordinary to make the players feel like something's really off. Bada boom, we're off to a good start already, dude. Good job, Casey. As we begin the game, Jimmy slowly awakes to a lullaby being sung to him by his mother. Again, you can already feel the Mother series here with the strong connections to Jimmy's mom. The mom is always an important character. She represents the warmth at home, you know, she makes you that home-cooked meal that restores your health, and in Mother 3, Lucas's mom is the driving force behind the entire plot. Within the first couple of minutes, we're then introduced to Jimmy's family, and we really get a proper grasp on their personalities and how they interact. We've got Jimmy's mother, you know, the classic cookie-cutters 50s mom who bakes cookies and is really giggly about anything. His father is pretty much a counterpart to his mom, and then we've got Jimmy's brothers, Buck and Lars. Buck's the tough kid, he hates anything cute and childish, and Lars, he's kinda like the lazy, cool older brother who's really only cool because he's older, nice, and has a beard. Even their family dynamic feels a little off. Jimmy's parents blatantly announce that they're gonna make love in a couple of minutes right in front of their children, as to which Buck says, gross. The game's got a couple of sex jokes. It's that weird middle ground where they never outright say it, so it'd go over the head of anyone like 8 years old or younger, but otherwise it's blatant enough for pretty much everyone to pick up on. A pretty good one is when you walk in on a bee pollinating a flower and he threatens Jimmy not to tell his wife. The game's real plot starts when Jimmy's mom wants Buck and Jimmy to go get her some honey after they clean up Buck's room. Inside Buck's room is a strange green blob creature, and after defeating it, Jimmy realizes the power of empathy and envisions himself living the life as the blob he just defeated. It's kind of unsettling. He visions about being in class and making these gross blobby sounds, upsetting the teacher, but making the other kids laugh, so Jimmy feels good about it because people are laughing, until he starts releasing toxic gases that suffocates all the children in the room, but Jimmy keeps on laughing. But of course, this isn't how Jimmy feels. That's how it feels to be the blob, and in realizing and understanding that, Jimmy can now transform into the blob. This is the main gimmick of the game, empathizing with defeated boss characters and being able to take their form. With each form comes another slew of abilities in battle, as well as abilities on the overworld. You'll use these to solve puzzles and gain access to new and hidden areas. The blob, for example, can squeeze through small gaps and can fit itself down through drains and cracks. There's 2 more forms available in the demo, but there's gonna be tons more in the final game, including a bird, a vampire, and possibly even more. Every vision Jimmy has is kind of unsettling in some way or or another. I mean, one of them has him envisioning himself as a flower, being so happy when a girl picks him. Out of all the flowers in the field, she picked him, and she puts him in this vase on her desk. But after enough time of not being watered or having proper sunlight, Jimmy starts to die. He feels his stem cracking and his leaves wilting. But then one day the girl looks up from her homework and smiles at Jimmy, and he knows everything's gonna be okay. It's strangely heartwarming and sentimental at the same time of being unsettling, and I kinda really like that. The game also has a pretty interesting system for the random encounters. Encounters are represented by an exclamation point that appears above your head when you walk around. If the battle's with an enemy that's your level or higher and actually worth fighting, you'll enter a battle. However, if the encounter is with a weaker enemy that's below your level and not really worth fighting at all, the exclamation point will instead be green, and you'll have the option of pressing the X key to disregard the battle, completely ignoring it. This is cool. It makes it completely seamless to explore areas you've already gone through without any annoying random encounters to make things tedious. The battles themselves really don't play much differently than anything else like Lisa or its RPG Maker. You know what you're getting yourself into. It's not that in-depth, though being able to use the different forms in battle is pretty cool. It kind of reminds me of Persona, honestly, the way you switch forms and that affects what special attacks you've got. The visual flavor here is really what makes it, though. The backgrounds float around and there's even some animation to it. It looks really good, and the battle effects are these comic book-esque pows and bams. I also really dig the music for the battles. It definitely got a lot more tood than the calming and lax Earthbound style tunes for the overworld. A lot of scratch stuff. I really like it. And like, duh, you can't make an Earthbound game if it's not funny. I need jokes, Casey, where's the jokes? The game's got a fairly good sense of humor. A lot of really silly and a lot of really dumb stuff that's completely up my alley. There's this one guy here building a wall because a guy told him if he doesn't build the wall, he's gonna get a knuckle sandwich. But this guy doesn't know what that is. To him, knuckle sandwich sounds pretty tasty, and he's thinking, if I'm gonna get one knuckle sandwich if I don't build this wall, imagine how many I'm gonna get if I do build it. So here he is building this wall thinking he's gonna get sandwiches. My favorite part is when you apply to be a common goon. The running gag is that everyone says the first rule of being a goon and then everyone says something different. It's so good. I really like how after empathizing with somebody or something and taking its form, Jimmy's face always remains exactly the same, like Ditto from Pokemon or whatever. You know, part of me really wonders if in the final game these empathetic visions are going to taint or affect Jimmy in some way or another. I mean, after understanding why it's so much fun to harm people and vandalize things after empathizing with a common goon, it makes me really interested in the directions the story could take if Jimmy were to empathize with, say, something darker and beyond the comprehension of mankind. Perhaps this titular pulsating mass will come into play in that regard. God, dude, I really want to know. I just gotta. The story sets things up really well, and the demo just ends on a cliffhanger, and I'm already dying to play more. Yeah, like nobody knows this game is a thing yet, and that's crazy because it's really good. Definitely check out that demo if you got time for it because it is very promising. It's only about 2 to 3 hours long, but I really enjoyed what I played. Even just the title screen sets up this big mystery that I need solved. What is this pulsating mass? What is that gonna have to do with Jimmy and the plot and whatever? I'm dying to know, I gotta know, and I gotta play this game when it finally comes out.